Hey guys, sitting in traffic here. I just want to do an unedited full review on my car. You probably typed in 2019 Subaru Crosstrek review, and this is probably up there as far as recently added. So here it is. I have this is my first video. I have absolutely no experience editing. I'm not trying to start a YouTube channel. This is just just me bored in traffic, and I just wanted to see where if this info might help. So kind of to go back, I've got a 2019 Subaru Crosstrek in Venetian red, premium trim in a 6-speed manual transmission. So it's an awesome car. I love it. I'm coming from a 2000 Jeep Wrangler, and just a car that from 2000. It was no power windows, working AC never worked. Very much a camping daily driver vehicle thing. I didn't give a shit about it. It had scratches, dents. It went where I wanted it to, and it was just a car. And I'm selling that, and I got this one this year, and I'm glad I upgraded, because this is some next level stuff. I've spent, if anything, you're probably considering getting this car, and you've looked at all the 2019 reviews on YouTube, just like I did, this year or last year, and you're wondering, what else can I, find out that hasn't really been stated? Well, what's cool is that this is a manual transmission. I can kind of go really into that, because the only other reviews that go into those manual transmissions don't really say much about it. I mean, there's a comparison that with a CVT and manual transmission, and for me, because I have always driven standard, obviously I just have a blast. I love the way this car shifts. I will say that this clutch is extremely light. This clutch engages at the very back half of that release. So when you clutch in all the way, nothing really happens until you get past that halfway point. And it takes some time to get used to. I mean, my Jeep was a different beast, and where that clutch engaged was different in that release pattern, and this is kind of just, it takes some getting used to, and it's just part of, it's just nature of the beast. And I'll admit I've stalled a couple times in this car just because I'm still getting used to it. But this car is when you do get used to it, though, you can drive smooth. I mean, I've seen some people say, oh, the clutch is really finicky, you don't know what's going on with it, like it's hard to make it smooth. But those people just suck, honestly. They don't know their cars enough, or they haven't driven their cars long enough to understand where it wants to shift and where it doesn't. But I mean, this car shifts great. I mean, it's not a WRX STI, it's not turbo. It doesn't have speed in fifth or sixth gear. But I mean, I'm coming from a Jeep, so that stuff doesn't matter to me. I'm happy to be able to cruise at 75 and drive 300 miles to a tank. That's a win for me. Some people might say otherwise, but hey, this is my car, it's my review, right? And I'll say what I want. But let's see. One problem, and it's not a problem, I'm really nitpicking here, but it's just I wish that there's just a way they could have changed this, is that in the central cluster, there's a little box that kind of gives you some information. It gives you your fuel, your miles, your trip numbers, and also on the top left is the current gear you're in, which is great. I mean, everyone wants to know what gear they're in. But my little nitpicking here thing is that when you clutch in all the way from whatever gear you're at, that number goes away. And when you shift into another gear and release the clutch all the way, the number comes back to what you've gone into. So for example, if I'm coming from second gear right now, and I clutch in to shift into third, I'll see, second gear, number 2, I'll clutch in, the number 2 disappears, I'll move and shift into third gear, and the screen will stay blank until I release the clutch all the way into third gear. Which, I've been driving standard transmissions most of my adult life, and I know what gear I'm in. It's not an issue for me. But if you're going to have this option to tell me what gear I'm in, I'd much like it to show up right when I shift into that gear, as opposed to when I clutch it all the way. You know, like I'm never going to go from 6th gear and want to go down to 4th, but somehow end up in 2nd. And because, you know, it's not like a safety net for me. I feel like it would just be nice to have that update, whereas as soon as I go from, you know, whatever gear I'm in into the gear I'm shifting into, it stays up and shows me that current change, as opposed to that delay of, okay, cool, I'm gonna shift into gear, blank, 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 I'm releasing, I've fully now released, okay, 3rd gear. So it really is my only gripe about this car. Everything else is like awesome. Storage is great, gas is great, shifts, you know, like a beaut. I love it. Android Auto is awesome. You know, I've never had that. I've never had Bluetooth before up until this car, so, you know, this and that. I mean, honestly, you can go into all the reviews, you know, on YouTube, and they'll give you more in depth about the features, the gas mileage, you know, all the stuff. And this is kind of just my 2 cents about, you know, what I've noticed so far in this car. I mean, it's completely stock right now. You know, the only change I did recently to it was I just switched out the halogen lights to LEDs. So I've got new interior lights, low beam, fog lights, and turn signals up front are all LEDs. And the next trip to the shop will be high beams, and then rear turn signals and rear light LEDs. That's gonna be my next thing. Long term. Let's see, long term, I'm gonna do the typical lift and wheels and tire combo. I'm really digging the SSD light bar that I've seen floating around with the 4 smaller halo lamps to it. I've also seen people do a light bar mounted with a Toyota Tacoma mount, and I consider doing that depending on how things work out. But yeah, I'm just enjoying this car. Really, I got this car at 10 miles at the dealership. You know, it was the only red Crosstrek in this trim with a manual transmission in the Bay Area, and you know, was lucky that these guys, you know, were able to work out a deal for me, because, you know, it's been sitting in the lot and no one wanted it, and I came in at the right time and just negotiated a deal for it. But yeah, you know, shout out to Carlson Subaru in Redwood City. These guys kind of came through and really hooked a guy up for this new car. Easy and painless. You know, I came there, knew what I wanted, how much I wanted to spend, and yeah, I walked out with a great car. Let's see. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I don't have any intentions of making this like a YouTube channel. You know, I just kind of was bored, and, you know, traffic is a lot faster now, so I'll probably cut this video off. But we'll see. I mean, I think I've got a roof rack that my parents used to have on their SUV that I might see if it fits, and we'll kind of go from there. And yeah, I mean, again, keep looking at those YouTube videos. You know, this whole video won't really do anything for you as far as looking at the car. It's literally just me talking about it and how I like it. And honestly, I fucking love this car. It's a good change from a Jeep Wrangler, a 2000 Jeep Wrangler, and like I have, you know, that's what I'm comparing it to, and it's just leagues above what I used to have and what I have now. So it's pretty rad. I forgot I was in 6th gear. Yeah, exactly. I just looked down and realized that I've been driving in 5th gear for the past 10 minutes, and yeah, sometimes I don't even know what to do with myself. I will add though that, you know, a lot of people shit on this car for not being fast enough, and like, yeah, this car isn't fast because honestly there's no power in 5th or 6th gear. Like, I'm downshifting to 4th if I want to pass someone on the freeway, but I never did that in my Jeep anyway, so I'm totally fine, you know, with the speed. You know, honestly, again, if I can drive, you know, 70 miles an hour on the freeway and get, you know, 350 miles to the tank, that's a win in my book, because in my Jeep I was going 55 the entire way, slow as hell, lucky to get 250 out of a 15-gallon tank. So, I mean, again, like, it's just a great all-around car. You know, it's got a good high clearance for camping, which I'm really big into. It's got a good sound system. I love the phone interface, you know, that I've got going on here. Yeah, all right, I'm gonna cut it off from here. Until next time, I'm just gonna upload this. So yeah, tell me how it is. You know, feedback, any advice on how to edit videos or whatever, or what I can do. Yeah, peace.